Hi, students. Mr. Butch here. Before we start today's lesson 4.5, I want to touch on a few things for class. Number one, your quizzes from last week are complete. They are in the grade book. Take a look at your grade when you have a second. If you have not taken that quiz and you see a Z in the grade book, uh, send me an email and set up a time to complete that because the zeros are weighing people down. If you want to retake that, shoot me an email. You have to do the review from last Monday's folder. And then you're more than welcome to retake that. The story problems seem to be the biggest issue. So watch the review video if you didn't understand the tree problem and the turkey problem, because that was 8 points out of the 29. So if you missed those two, it brought your grade down quite a bit. Stay on top of the Chapter 4 homework packet. That is due December 15th. So next Tuesday, those will be due. Ignore the 4.3 page. You can cross it out. You do not have to do 4.3. I mentioned in a lot of different areas that the point slope we are not going to cover. We are going to focus on slope intercept and standard form, which is what you guys did yesterday. So if you have any questions at all about anything, shoot me an email, or I have my daily Google Meets at 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and 1 p.m. The code for that and the link for that are both in Polaris Daily. It's Butch Math is the ID, and then the link to get into that is in my Polaris account if you don't know how to get into Google Meet. If you have any questions, any trouble, just shoot me an email, and we can work through this together. We got 2 more weeks of this virtual learning. Then hopefully after Christmas, we'll all be back together for those that came in person. Last thing is there are no test or quizzes this week. We're going to have a quiz next week, and then our chapter test will be the week after, right before the Christmas break. So let's keep working through these equations. And like I said, if you have any questions at any time, shoot me an email because we need to get through this and stay on top of the work. So let's get rolling here. 4.5, we're going to talk about parallel lines and perpendicular lines. So let's warm up with a story problem involving what we did yesterday. So read this problem over, take a minute and see if you can complete this in your notebook on your own. So we want to write a formula here. A small van holds 8 people, so we can write that as 8. I'll use X, you could use S, a different letter. And a large van holds 12 people. We'll call that Y, or you could have used L for large. And the total number is going to be 144. So that is your equation. As you can see in standard form, the X and Y are on the same side. That's what we've done the last 2 days, is standard form. Now, possible combinations. You can solve this in a variety of ways, plugging in numbers for X or Y and then solving. I think the easiest thing to do is if you set X equal to 0, then Y equals 12. 144 divided by 12. You could also set Y equal to 0 and take 144 divided by 8, and you get X equals 18. So that's 18 small vans, 0 large vans, 0 large, and 12 small vans. There are all kinds of different other combinations you could do. X equals 3, and I believe Y would equal 10. X equals 3, Y equals 10 is another combination. 10 times 12 is 120. 8 times 3 is 24, which equals 144. There are many, many, many possibilities here. So today's lesson, we are going to talk about parallel, perpendicular, and then we've already talked about neither, which are just intersecting lines. So jot these down in your notes. Remember, you can use your notes, obviously, quizzes and tests, so this is going to be a good reference. Parallel lines never intersect or never cross. They go right next to each other, and we've talked about this in class before, and they also have the same slope, or M. Now, perpendicular lines, I don't think we've talked about yet, but they cross at a right angle, which is 90 degrees, and the slopes are opposite reciprocals. So what does that mean? Opposite reciprocals. So let's do an example right below this. If I have a slope of 1/2, the perpendicular slope is the opposite. So the positive becomes negative, and you take the reciprocal. So you flip it over. So it's the opposite, and you flip it. So 1/2 becomes -2/1, which is the same as just -2. Let's do one more here. The perpendicular slope of -3, you take the opposite, so it becomes positive, and you flip it, and you get 1/3. We'll do several more examples of these. The more you practice it, the more you're going to get the hang of the opposite reciprocal. But just knowing the difference between parallel and perpendicular is the most important in this lesson. Obviously, if the lines are not parallel or perpendicular, they're going to cross at a variety of points. The slopes are not going to be the same. In general, though, a good reminder is if the line's going uphill, this is a positive slope. If the line's going downhill, the slope is negative. All right, so let's do some examples here. So I got 4 lines, A, B, C, D. So the first thing I want to do is give the slope of A, B, C, and D. So why don't you guys take a second? This is basic rise over run, and find the slope of each of these lines. So take 1 minute. Go ahead. All right, so the slope of line A, we're going up 1 and then left 3. Up 1 is positive, left is negative. The line's going downhill, so the slope is -1/3. Line B, I'm going down 1, negative, and right 2, positive. Down is negative, right is positive. The line is also going downhill. Notice -1/2, -1/3. They look kind of parallel, but the slopes are not the same, so they are not parallel. Line C, I actually did these out of order. I just did C. So let's go back here and do B. Rise over run. I'm going up 2, right 1, so I have a slope of 2/1, or just 2. That line is going uphill, so it's positive. And then my last one here for D, I'm going up 4 and right 2. So I have a slope of 4/2, which reduces to 2/1, or 2. So if you notice, line B and line D have the same slope, so they are parallel. Are there any lines that are perpendicular? Do you see any opposite reciprocals? Well, I think we do. I think B and D are perpendicular to which line? Looks like line C. Now let's do it without the graph, and this is a multiple choice ACT type of question here. So which line is parallel to the graph? And then graph it. So these are all in slope-intercept form, so all my slopes are already labeled here. This is the M, remember, y equals mx plus b. M is your slope. So the first thing I need to do is figure out the slope of the line. So I found 2 points here. I made them blue. Line's going uphill. It's going to be positive. I'm going up to right 3. Up to right 3 gives me a slope of 2/3. Which line has a slope of 2/3? Well, looks like there's 2 of them here. How can there be 2 answers? Well, ACTs are tricky, so let's look at our y-intercepts. Well, 2/3 x minus 2, look here on the graph. That's my y-intercept. So choice B is actually the red line. So that's going to eliminate B and make my answer C. ACTs are tricky tests. So let's erase this and let's go ahead and graph this line. So my starting point is 2 on the y-axis, the y-intercept. I go up to right 3. And then I can graph that line just like that. And you can see those lines are going to be parallel. They will never cross. They will never intersect. Question 5, which line is parallel to y equals 6x? Same thing here, just no graph. This one's a little bit easier. The slope is 6. Well, I see 2 6's here, but same thing. B is the exact same line as the one given. So it can't be B. So my answer is C. 6x plus 2 is parallel to 6x minus 5. So now let's do the exact same thing, but now we're looking at perpendicular. All right, so perpendicular is a little bit trickier. So same thing, I'm going to start on the red line. I'm going to find 2 points. Find 2 points that we can find the slope between. So I found my y-intercept here at 3, and I'm going to pick this point up here. Looks like I'm going down to right 5. Down to right 5 gives me a slope of negative 2/5. But I want the perpendicular slope. Line A would be parallel, but I don't want parallel, I want perpendicular. Perpendicular is the opposite reciprocal. So flip it over and take the opposite, so the negative becomes positive. So which answer has a slope of 5/2? That would be choice D. You need to pause this, go back and watch that again. If I'm talking too fast, watch it a couple times. We're going to graph this now. Negative 2 is my y-intercept. And I go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 2. And I graph my line. So next one, why don't you guys give this a try? Which line is perpendicular? Use that slope of 8. Take a minute. Which line is perpendicular? If you chose A, you chose the parallel line. The opposite of positive 8 is negative 8. and the reciprocal is -1/8. So the correct answer is choice D. Got a couple here. Why don't you guys, again, take a minute, try both of these. First one is parallel. Second one is perpendicular. So number 8, parallel. Number 9, perpendicular. So they make this easy on us. It's y equals mx plus b. It's already set. My slope is 3. So the parallel slope is 3. It's the same. Perpendicular is a little bit different. I take my slope of 9. It's the opposite reciprocal. So it's -1/9. Now, we got 2 more left for today. We're going to make it a little tougher on you. Now we're going to put it in standard form. So the first thing we have to do here is solve for y. I want to get it in the form y equals mx plus b so that I can identify the slope. So my first step here is going to be subtracting 6x from both sides. So I get 8y equals -6x plus 12. And I'm going to divide everything by 8. So I get y equals, now be careful. If this was a multiple choice test, you would not see -6/8 because that reduces to -3/4. Same thing with 12/8. 12/8 is the same as 3/2. I don't know why I put an equal sign here. Let's erase that. So that is 1 1/2, 1.5, or 3/2 for the y-intercept. So what's the parallel slope? Well, it's -3/4. Parallel lines, same slope. All right, last one here. The exact same thing, but now I want perpendicular. So go ahead. You guys try this. Put this in your notebook. Solve for y. All right, we're going to solve for y. My first step is going to be subtracting 8x from both sides. So I have -2y equals -8x plus 6. Divide everything by -2, and I get y equals -8 divided by -2 is +4x, plus 6 divided by -2 is -3. So what is the perpendicular slope to 4? That's my final answer. Well, take the reciprocal and take the opposite. So your answer should have been -1/4. If you have any questions or if any of this does not make sense, 9 a.m., 11 a.m., and 1 p.m. are my Google Meet hours. Feel free to jump on and say hello and ask any questions you have. The homework tonight is the homework packet. So right now you should be able to get up through section 5. We're going to do more of this on Monday. More examples like this. We'll do a little bit of book work on Monday. But for this weekend, sections 1, 2, 4, and 5. Skip section 4.3 in that homework packet. That is what is due on December 15th. So you still got a few days to work on that homework packet. Last thing, extra credit. Email me. Go Bears. Go Bears. And I'll give you guys a bonus point added to your last quiz to show me that you watched the end of this video. Go Bears, extra credit, email, shoot it to me, and I'll add it to your last quiz. Have a great day, everybody. Good job. And I will see everybody soon.